When I started More for Women, right, I'm starting it because, I'm not able to host events anymore. Well, and
Mhm.
because that's when I thought I'd find my niche. I thought I'd find my calling because now I can, have that impact and also use that beauty experience that I have. When I went through it, the pageant was quite exciting. I got a car sponsor, I got a clothing
Ooh.
sponsor, I got, like most of the things that you win after the pageant, I got them while I was in the pageant. I was like, I'm definitely winning this thing.
Yeah. Yes.
And when I didn't make it through, that's when I had to obviously look back in terms of
Mhm.
why didn't I make it. I started an initiative called Beauty with Intention, which then was will host events and then we'll focus on the inner and outside beauty. So when I say
Mhm.
inner beauty, I mean beauty that's coming from inside,
Yes.
from deep in.
The Groundbreakers, Mondays to Thursdays. Mondays to Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. on TUT FM.
Women empowerment. My background is actually in the beauty industry. When I finished school, I went to the beauty industry. So I worked for brands like your Clinique, your Estee Lauder,
Mhm.
different brands, Elizabeth Arden. And later over the years, I just felt like I wasn't breaking the glass ceiling. I was
Yeah.
still doing, the same mundane jobs. Yes, I love obviously making women look and feel beautiful, but
Mhm.
it wasn't like fulfilling.
Yeah.
After a couple of years, it wasn't fulfilling. So then I entered Mrs. South Africa in 2017.
Mm.
That's when I entered the first time and made it to the semifinals. And at that time, I was still quite young, in terms of
Mm.
obviously what the program stands for, in terms of the women empowerment, in terms of impact. What I'm
Mhm.
loving when I saw there that it says, amplifying voices and
Empowering.
lives, so
Yes.
that impact I hadn't gotten it yet. I was just
Mhm.
liking to make women feel beautiful. It was still a bit, I would say, on the outer beauty side.
Mhm.
And after that first entry that I went through on the Mrs. South Africa journey, I learned a lot. And then
Mhm.
I understood what impact means, what it
Yeah.
means to impact your community. And I started an initiative called Beauty with Intention, which then was will host events and then we'll focus on the inner and outside beauty. So when I say
Mhm.
inner beauty, I mean beauty that's coming from inside,
Yes.
from deep in, because I really believe that beauty is skin deep. And then after that, we hosted events. I partnered with the Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and it was going well. The events were getting popular, and and then 2020 happened, COVID happened,
Oh,
and then I
COVID.
had to pivot, which to More for Women, the online business that I'm in
Yeah.
now, which I'm sure we'll unpack further. But
Yeah.
so it's just been a journey of learning, a journey of resilience, not giving up, which I
Yeah.
think definitely that's what I want to share with your listeners today. But in a nutshell, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm an entrepreneur, and a child of God. That's who I am.
Now, now that's a beautiful introduction. If I was working at HR, you were, if for interview, we definitely hired on the spot. That's how a person introduced themselves. Not to tell me that you love drinking tea in the morning or jogging on the weekends. We don't work with that here. But let's come here. Now, considering your background, as a qualified beauty therapist and professional model, what was that defining moment when you decided to then bridge your passion with entrepreneurship? So the question is, what inspired you to turn your passion for beauty and empowerment into a business?
Mm. Yeah, like I've mentioned earlier that, okay, so I was working as a beauty therapist, right? I was working
Yeah.
in therapy, working for someone. And I felt that, having to work for someone and for different brands, I'm not hitting that, that
Yeah.
full purpose, if I can call it like that, because I believe that it is a purpose.
Yeah.
I felt like my life was called for more, but I'm having to go to work, and listen to the
Mm.
boss, so I wasn't really feeling like,
Process.
I'm fulfilling my dream,
Mhm.
so I think that's what pushed me to enter the pageant, right, the first time when I
Mhm.
entered South Africa. And then I went through it, the pageant was quite exciting. I got a car sponsor, I got a clothing
Ooh.
sponsor, I got, like most of the things that you win after the pageant, I got them while I was in the pageant. I was like, I'm definitely winning this thing.
Yeah. Yes.
And when I didn't make it through, that's when I had to obviously look back in terms of
Mhm.
why didn't I make it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you also want to look at other people. Also, sometimes you need to look at yourself and think, why
Yeah.
didn't I make it through? That's when I realized that, this platform is about women empowerment. This platform is about making an impact in community. And so far, I've just been making impact in terms of when people come to my therapy room, or when
Yeah.
they come to me at the shop, but it wasn't really impacting community as
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I really believe that's what as South Africans we need to do. When we get empowered, we need to also empower other people. That we all need to rise together. And
Mhm.
I really appreciate the platform that Mrs. South Africa has given,
Gave you.
us women,
Mm.
because also at the same time I wanted to enter Miss South Africa when I was young, back in the days. And
Mhm. Mhm.
then unfortunately, the time passed, so I thought it was over. And then
Mm.
having to come back and realize that, I mean, it's not over till until it's not over until what did they say, until the fat cow sings or something like that. So I had
You
to
don't
realize,
stop.
what did they say? Do you know?
We share at UTFM due to Bakengo Primoket. We say you don't stop because you are tired. You stop because you are done.
Oh wow! You see, I love it.
Now, let's speak about some of the biggest challenges you faced when you started Mall for Women and how did you overcome them?
Okay. So when I started More for Women, right, I'm starting it because, I'm not able to host events anymore. And
Mhm.
because that's when I thought I'd find my niche. I thought I'd find my calling, because now I can, have that impact and also use that beauty experience that I have. So what we'd have is, in our events, we'll talk about some things that, like are serious to women, such as gender-based violence. We'll talk about menopause. We'll talk about mental health. But at the same time, in the events, we'll do like makeovers, teach ladies how to do
Mm.
makeup. We'll teach them how to style. So I really felt like I found my niche and I found my space, and I was really enjoying it, because after that, then we network with the women, and then I was building a community. So when that
Mhm.
happened, when COVID happened, and then I launched More for Women, it was because I was pivoting, right? Because
Yeah.
what I was doing wasn't, now, oh, there's no events anymore. We're going through lockdown. And luckily, I attended an e-commerce training by the Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And
Okay.
then when I attended that, from my background in retail, I'm thinking that, you know what, how am I going to do this? Because when I sell cosmetics, people want to touch them, they want to smell them. If you're selling perfume,
Mm.
how am I going to do this thing online? But, luckily, it actually ignited a dream and a vision of mine that I had in high school. So
Yeah.
in 1999, I'm not sure, you look young, but
Ah,
you might know this. Do you know Y2K?
so do what?
Y2K.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think I
There is a
follow.
movie now called Y2K. It's a bit extreme, like a bit of a horror, but it wasn't as bad
Okay.
as that. So Y2K was a time period between, it was from 1999 going to 2000.
Yeah.
And people were scared and nervous that it's going to be it's going to be the end of the world. Computers are going to crash, so
Mm.
everybody was panicking. You're going to
Jesus
lose
was coming
money.
back.
Yes, you're gonna lose
Yeah.
your money in the bank. Was had to do with technology.
Yeah.
So people were very scared, like even the computers from 1999, now going to 00. How is that gonna happen?
Mhm.
So our school, I think it was actually it was a national or provincial competition, and
Mhm.
that you had to in our science class we had to build a cardboard structure,
Okay.
and have that will have technology that will save the world, right?
Mm.
So then in my mind I'm thinking, okay, what can I create? And at that time I actually had relocated from Cape Town. So maybe let me go back. In 1994, with the new elections, where now we can all move around, go to different schools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
originally from KZN, I think that's when the first move happened, when we moved
Mhm.
to Cape Town.
Yeah.
And so I studied there for years, and then I moved back to KZN. So that transitioning as a teenager from Cape Town to KZN, was a bit difficult for me, because I was a teenager. Now I'm used to from the city. Now I'm going to the township, So some of the things that I used to enjoy, which for example was the mall, going to the mall with my friends.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
true.
use the pain, right, in my mind, obviously now that I'm older, but I'm thinking that's what obviously happened, that I built a shopping mall. This shopping mall will have the latest technology that will save the world.
Yeah.
And so I won the competition. I still have the certificates. I wish I brought it to show you.
You
I've
can
got
flaunt it
this.
around.
Yes, it's 20 years ago, right?
Ooh,
So I
ooh.
forgot about it. And then in 2013, after I got married, I shared the dream, we call it pillow talk with my husband.
Yeah,
I was telling
yeah,
him that,
yeah.
oh, I had this dream to open a mall, that this mall will, for women and, it would empower women, but at that time, obviously, I'm thinking physical shopping mall, right? And
Yeah.
then we meet with a few developers to try and make this. His background is in architecture. So he's like,
Mhm.
wow, this is a great idea. Maybe we can do this, babe,
You can
So
make it
we go,
work.
so we go and talk to a few developers. And what happens is then after that, sorry, I got distracted here. I've got my live fans here. I'm sharing on Facebook. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we do that, then it didn't come to fruition, right? Because I don't really have the expertise to open a
Yeah,
shopping mall,
yeah.
And then also they were talking about 250 million rands. At that time, there was no women empowerment initiatives, which
Mm,
they are now.
yeah.
And so it was like, it's just a pipe dream. So I put
Mhm.
it aside. I forgot about it. So when now this thing happens with me having to open more for women, this online shop, at that time, I called it The Bold and the Beautiful, but that's a story for another time. And so
Ooh.
now, so now when I have to open this shop and go live, and
Yeah.
then it just hit me that, you know what, all the shopping malls are closed. This dream that, obviously there was the Holy Spirit, this dream that you had all those years ago, this is a chance to actually launch it. And you're not
Yeah.
going to need 250 million rand. You
Mm-mm.
actually can just open it and start and see how it goes. I was
Phew,
like, wow, that is
phew.
amazing. Thank you,
Beautiful.
Lord. So I started working and, building it. And even though it was live, I think we went live in June, but we launched on the 9th of August,
Mhm.
National Women's Day, more for women, with
Marking it,
obviously
marking
latest
it.
technology. Now this
Yeah,
thing is
yeah,
happening. Yay. And then after that, now the challenges, right?
yeah,
Because I did this through inspiration. I
yeah,
did this through a dream, but I didn't really know how to put it together.
yeah.
And then I signed up to a program called Future Females,
Mm-hmm.
which is a business school program. And then that's when I was able to now identify in terms of looking at it and say, okay, in order for you to start a business, you need to solve a problem.
Yes.
Right?
And
What
yeah,
I had to put it down. What problem
yeah.
am I solving? Because then it's like, oh, God gave me this vision. God gave me that's not enough. You need to know what problem
Mm.
you are solving. You need to write a business plan. You need to get it down in your
Proposals.
financials. Not in financials. I'm live though.
Phew. Ish.
So, but you know what? Challenges are overcome. They are there. There's nothing. I don't say there's anything called failure. It's not failure. Is not the opposite of success. It just means that you need to go and tweak it a bit and
Please do step. Oh,
improve.
oh, you are back. Ah, it's fine. She's back. It was you. I lost you for a moment there. I think it was due to network issues, but you back. I was then coming to a question there because you then mentioned purpose and empowerment, and I wanted to bring in the question to say, what role does purpose and empowerment play in the day-to-day operations and the long-term strategy of your company?
Okay. So More for Women is an e-commerce marketplace. So sometimes when I say e-commerce, some people marketplace, especially some people get lost. So it's an
Mhm.
online shopping mall, or it's just like Amazon. Take a lot.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
so I'm sure most people now know Amazon Temu. When I launched at that time, people were like, "Oh, who buys clothes online?" This was 2020. I'm so grateful for Temu
Mm.
and shit, because
Mm.
when they came, now everybody's buying online, so no one can say that I don't buy online anymore, right? So
Definitely
this
true.
platform is designed to, obviously, after I went through the Future Female Business School, I was able to now refine the business model and refine that what problem am I
Mhm.
solving. I'm solving,
Mhm.
first of all, barriers, digital barriers for women. Like
Yeah.
a woman is a fashion designer. She goes to fashion design school. She finishes design. She gets a shop at a neighborhood shopping center. And then after
Mhm.
that, that is the only customers that she's going to get. So now when you
Definitely
go
true.
online, yep. So when you go online, then you are able to sell beyond that location, right? So you can be able
Mm.
to sell in Durban, maybe also in Cape Town. But in my marketplace, it's a global marketplace. So you're able to sell
Sure.
globally. So
Yeah.
we've got a
Definitely.
partnership with DHL. So DHL
Mm.
is a huge company. They are in 220 countries. So the women that list on my platform are able to sell to those 220
Those.
countries
Yeah.
around the
Sure.
world. Yes. And then secondly, I had to look in terms of what do women need. Okay, apart from your digital barrier, your digital skills, as we are, it's true, women are being left behind in this digital economy. So apart from that, what else can we do? So then that's when e-learning came in, that okay, maybe some of the women might not have products to actually necessarily sell, but they can go into the program or to my platform and start e-learning and learn digital
Yes.
skills
Yeah.
and learn the skills that they need to make income and make, in the digital economy. One of the other things that we also offer is logistics, because e-commerce obviously is a sale, two sales individually, one at a time. But then what we want to do for our women is we want to empower them when we look at exporting, importing, where we
Putting.
can
Yes. True.
deal for
Yeah.
them, in terms of bulk. So because this is not only just about also obviously empowering one person, right, who's listing on my platform, it's
But the
empowering
largest thing.
community. Yes, she
Yeah.
must employ other people. Her business must grow. So what does she need? She needs money to build a business.
Sure.
So we also help them to get resources in terms of getting funding. So it's a whole ecosystem. That's why I don't
Mm.
necessarily just say like it's an e-commerce shop. It's a
Shop.
marketplace.
Yeah.
It does have that, those kind of things that we look in terms of, barriers. Oh, another thing, when you do have a physical shop, there is a certain
Mhm.
time that the shopping mall closes, right? From if
Mhm.
you open from 9 to 6, then the shopping mall is closed. Our
It's close.
platform is
Yes.
24/7, so there is no barrier of geographic barriers in terms of you need transportation to get into the taxi to go or a bus to go
Mm.
and shop or support your sister. You can do it at any time at your house. Any woman that lists on our platform has that opportunity. And I would say also one of the things that we like to do is we also don't promote the products as the forefront. We want to promote the women that list on the platform, because
True.
that's how we can actually really empower them. And not,
Ah.
when normally in marketplaces, it's like a shop. When you go to Pick and Pay, you look at all the products, you don't know who is actually making those
Who's
products.
actually doing those things? Yes.
Yes.
True.
So in order for us to empower them, we have to put them at the forefront of the products that they're making. We create blogs. Right now, we actually talk
Connectivity. Oh yes.
blogs. It's 20 hours. And then we also talking to IME, where we're gonna do webinars in terms of explaining the people's products, because sometimes, like I said, that especially with skincare, with some of the things, even if you
Yeah.
put a picture and say these products are by this person, you still doesn't still mean that you know them. But if you are
Mm.
creating environments of webinars, in terms of people can ask questions and, create that community engagement in terms of them knowing the person behind the brand, we really
Yeah.
believe, our countries, because right now, especially the beauty industry, we are busy buying products that are not made in South Africa.
Definitely. I
Big
was watching
brands.
some lady explaining that, that most of the makeup they apply on the faces are not done locally. So,
Yes. So we want to change that narrative. We don't want when
mm,
things are happening where we're like, oh God, what are we going to eat? What are we going to wear? We want to be able to sustain ourselves as individuals in South Africa, in terms of, even in Africa, actually, because
yeah.
now there's no reason to look at geographic, even with Africa. Can you imagine
Mm,
if in Africa we are trading with each other, like the kind of community, kind of things that we could build, let's
yeah.
support each other, and even if I promise you, if you walk around and ask 10 people, give me one cosmetic brand that is made by South African women. Yeah, okay, maybe Portia M, she's done very well. They
Yeah.
might,
Yeah. I was
but
about to mention her. Yeah. That's the
that would be
only
the
lady
only
that I
one.
know.
Yes, you see, maybe one or
Yeah.
two, but not 10. And how many
Yeah.
women are here in South Africa? Maybe
It's
about
a
20
lot.
million.
A lot. Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot.
So
And
that's
you know
what
what?
I'm back.
I want to bring in this question based on the scale that what we're speaking about now is entrepreneurship. And I want to know what, for emerging entrepreneurs, how can one ensure that their creative passion also now meets strategic and financial demands? Because breaking into that market definitely needs a lot of amount of money.
Mm. Well, let me tell you that actually funding is it's very difficult to find funding, especially like from it's better for men than it is actually for women. And then also, unfortunately, also with the color, with this, with us Africans, it's very difficult to
Mm.
get funding. And, that's one of the things, initiatives that we're looking into in terms of our webinars to talk deeper into getting that financial awareness and financial resources to help the entrepreneurs to get funding.
Yeah.
And I think let's start with the dream, right? The dream and the
Mhm.
purpose. I feel that sometimes us as entrepreneurs, we always want to start big, like launch, and everybody must know. I think
Mhm.
that we need to start small, right?
Yeah.
So if in order for me to be able to be where I am now, I launched in 2020, and maybe only now people are knowing about More for Women. I've been doing this thing for 4 years,
Oh,
right? I
true.
actually
Yes.
started
True.
getting the international recognition before I did here in South Africa, So because you
Mm.
obviously have to understand the market, maybe in terms of e-commerce, in terms of, it's a different space, and also maybe not a lot of women are involved there. So
Yeah.
when they're looking for speakers and they're looking at who is a speaker in e-commerce, maybe my name pops up, and maybe it's one in out of 100 that is female. Especially the event that I was
True.
speaking to in Dubai last year, I was the only African person in that,
Mm.
it's the MENA
Mm.
region, right? The Middle East and not Northern Africa. So with
Yeah. Yeah.
Southern Africa, I was the only person that was there that was African. So we have to look at those terms that, okay, in terms of the business or dream, purpose,
Mhm.
whatever it is that we're going to name, or goal, that you must start
Mhm.
small with where you are, right? So,
True.
and then build from there. I
Yeah.
didn't have the business skills, whatever, that is needed, business degree and stuff like that. But only after I started, then I realized that, oh, okay, you know what? This is what I need so that I can be able to write a business plan in order to get funded. Or this is what I need in order to, you always find out on your way forward as you have started in taking the first initial step. That's how you
Definitely.
can grow. Even now, with in terms of Facebook, I mean, really, you can start a business, open a page on Facebook, and that could be your lead page. Because in
You know
terms of
what, Miss? I'm sorry to interrupt you so abruptly. So, Miss Sanele, I'm looking at the time. It is definitely 5 minutes after the hour 8 o'clock. I want us to take a very quick ad break, and after that, we'll definitely be back to continue this conversation because it's starting to get passionate. And I wanna give you a round of applause and even a horn when you come back when you say you were the only woman in Africa in the Middle East giving on that particular platform, speaking about your business. Please don't go anywhere. We'll definitely be back.
all right, no problem. Thank you.
The best link that you need between breakfast and lunch. This is the Mid Morning Connection
The mid-morning connection.
on TUTFM.
You can follow us on Facebook at PUTFM 96.2, on Twitter and Instagram at TUTFM_962. Add it to your favorite. Add it to your favorite. And keep radio on TUTFM. And follow us on Facebook at TUTFM 96.2, on Twitter and Instagram at TUTFM_962. Add it to your favorite. Add it to your favorite. And keep radio on TUTFM.
.ac.za or call 012-382-9719. We will respond within 7 working days. If you are not satisfied with our response, then you can escalate your complaint to the Independent Communication Authority of South Africa. Direct your complaint via email to bimashiho@icasa.org.za or via post to Independent Communication Authority of South Africa, 350 Witch Hazel Avenue, Eco Park Estate, Centurion 0144 or call 012-568-3000. TETFM 96.2, amplifying voices, empowering lives.
The store, you're trying to buy something, or there was false advertising, there's a sneaker that you want to buy, you go into the shop and eventually there's a lot of issues concerning that and you feel that you are being discriminated against, violated against, and what are the protections against that?
By Pulelo and Madisa. Join us every Monday to Thursday as we tackle issues shaping the world.
And on the video, they show a lady walking. Yes, it's late in the evening. We're not sure of the time, but we'll just assume, let's say 8 or 9. The lady's coming from wherever she's coming from. She's walking down the road, busy on the phone, and they come from behind her. They snatch the phone. They cheat her with a few slaps or petrol or paraffin, whatever the liquid was. And they, how sad is that? As that's what the country has gone to.
From 7 to 9 on TUT FM 96.2.
Imagine now we're standing at 3,000 unidentified bodies. Right. It's only September. End of it, actually, it's going to be October next week. What happens when it comes December time? Right?
The Groundbreakers, where facts meet fearless conversations because we amplify voices and empowering lives.
We are definitely back, and it is, let me do this, 80 minutes after the hour, 8 o'clock. And I have to remind you that you're listening to TUT FM 96.2, amplifying voices, empowering lives. And this is Plug a Graduate right here on the Groundbreakers. And I want you to remind you that you can contact us or, engage with us on our socials, definitely at TUTFM_962, both on X and Instagram, and definitely on Facebook at TUTFM.962. And you can definitely contact us on 012-382-9719. All right. And I'll bring another one, which is for the WhatsApp, which you can send your questions or even your voice notes on 012-382-9257. That's our WhatsApp line. Miss Simmons, I know that you're also having your listeners or viewers going live there. They can even, if they can hear me, those are the numbers that they can share their questions with. And I have to remind you that we are speaking to Miss Sanele Simmons, who is the co-founder and CEO of For More of Women, a Beauty with Intention. And our conversation tonight is turning passion into a business. So we are basically taking lessons from her entrepreneurial journey. Miss Simmons, good evening, and once again, welcome back to the Groundbreakers.
Thank you. I'm still enjoying to be here. Thank you.
Definitely. And let's continue where we left off. I wanted to say, what role does, education play in terms of your entrepreneurial journey, especially for young graduates? And now, in light of TUTFM graduate segments focus, how important is continuous learning in the terms of scaling a business?
I mean, I'm sure everybody knows we've had that saying that you never stop learning, and I really think that it's very important. Education is definitely key to success. It gives you a bit of some, fundamental, which is needed in your career, and then also when it comes to scaling, there's no way that you can be able to get into business. Okay, yes, obviously we talk about passion, like I said, but passion is not enough. Yes, it's good to start a business that is in line with the vision, because if you will enjoy it, right, you will enjoy what you're doing because you're passionate about it and you love it. It wouldn't really feel like work. But also in terms of education, it's very important that you get your education. I always say, even to my son, that you get your own education, because then it gives you the ground level in terms of to know what is it, the foundation, right? So as we all know, when you're building a house, the foundation is deeper. It gives you the foundation that whatever you put on top can be able to stand. And then, but it's continuous learning, because things are always changing. In terms of technology, it's always changing. Things that used to be back in the days, I don't know, like the way that also even my mind works in terms of even when I started and what the trend of technology that we are even ourselves are moving into. When people list with us, we are able to do now. We're working on a platform actually where we are able to do face verification, where there's so definitely I feel that it's important, especially also with technology. Because sometimes you can say education, and people can go to school, but there is also education, but there is some kind of fields that I really believe in, that, having to move to that direction is going to be a fundamental in terms of the future. So it's very important that you get that qualification, and then you can start building your fundamental blocks in terms of what is it that you want. And I think also because, there's no one who can say that they don't enjoy technology, because look at you and me now, we're able to talk and communicate.
Definitely. Yeah.
So who wouldn't say that, it has definitely improved our lives. But then there is a fear, obviously, of like, oh, it's going to steal our jobs, it's going to do this. I don't think it will. I think that new jobs will be created, jobs that we've never even thought of. There's just some of those things that robots can never do. They make
Definitely.
they make
Definitely.
work effectively and
Yeah.
much more quicker, especially like your terms of your chat GPT, all those things. They make things quicker and easier, that you don't have to be working on something for 2 months, something that you could be done with maybe within 2 weeks. So in terms of like, it's there's no going back. We have to accept it. There was different. We're on the fourth industrial revolution now. There's no going back.
I was about to mention that we are within the fourth industrial revolution, so we cannot then, put aside the issue of technology. I want to bring in the issue of the Shine Academy. I want to understand, how did your experience at the Sanele Simmons Shine Academy contribute to your overall business philosophy? And then, if you can, to discuss how teaching etiquette and grooming parallels are the skills required for successful, business leadership.
Okay, I like that, because if you can see that most of my businesses are touching, it's not like I'm in manufacturing, then I'm in, like hospitality. That my businesses are synced around what I'm passionate about. You see, so everything I do is something that I'm passionate about. So, Sanele Simmons Shine Academy is etiquette, beauty, building that confidence, building that self values, so that it's mostly focused on teens, so that they too can make the right informed decisions before they even finish school, that they can be able to, in terms of making those right decisions in life. It's more of in terms of what the school systems doesn't teach. Not that to say that they don't teach values, but there is some of the small things, like especially etiquette, how to use a knife and fork, those kind of things, how to speak, how to, yes, correct, how to stand straight, how to, all those things that I believe that once those fundamentals are plugged into a young person's lives, it's a fundamental, again, that when they grow up, then they will always remember those fundamentals. Obviously, there is some beauty elements from it, taken from my beauty industry and from the modeling, that are put together into the program, but it's mostly just about that holistic. So as we're doing holistic beauty for women, also let's not leave the youth behind. And it's also for both boys and girls, teenagers, to groom them, to be respectable people in society, to be confident, to stand up tall, to be able to make the right decisions, good decisions for your life. To me, when they comes to dating, they're able to, we do have a session on dating, how to be polite, how to open the door for the, for the girlfriend, the date, and I wish when I was young that we got taught these things, but I find that mostly in the African communities, we are scared to talk about dating. We are scared to talk about sex. We're scared to, but it's happening. And then, so if the parents are maybe feeling also scared to touch on those topics, they can come to a secure space where we can talk about those things in order to make sure that, they're respectable young people and that their dreams come true. People can focus on the school, not having to look after kids, and then building that foundation of in terms of waiting for marriage, before marriage, and then after that you get married, it's just
No,
building blocks of life, like I
yeah.
said.
And I definitely love that what you say about young men being able to open up a chair for a lady when sitting
Yeah.
down. It is definitely true to that saying that manners maketh a man. I want to bring in to say now, reflecting on your own journey, how does resilience and adaptability contribute to entrepreneurial success, and what are the key personal qualities you have found most important for overcoming setbacks in your business?
Mhm. Okay, resilience. I think coming back to Mrs. South Africa, it shows resilience. Coming back this year, making it to the semi-finals. Now we're going all the way. Blast, please vote for me. So, but we'll talk about later when we're closing, I guess.
Yeah.
But it shows resilience, not giving up. That what I'm teaching, I'm not just joking around. That I live what I'm teaching. That don't give up on your dreams. Don't ever. It's always easier the second time around. I always say that also to my employees when something happens and then maybe the first time it doesn't happen, that it's always easier the second time. When you're typing an email and then something happened and didn't save it, and then now when you have to do it, it just always seems easier. If you're writing an assignment, when you're doing it the second time, it's always easier, right? So I think that's a fundamental in terms of resilience, is not quitting and not giving up on your dreams. And also, even when I die, even if maybe I never win the crown, it's okay. The experience, the kind of people I meet, those challenges they make, you always grow from it. And then secondly, in terms of the overcoming now the challenges, and or also even like how do you manage multitask, right? Because I've got the business, I've got the nonprofit, and then now I've got Mrs. South Africa. Time management, I believe, is very important. So in terms of having to set up a time for this, a time for that, is very important, because otherwise then everything just, gets messed up. I'll make an example in terms of, obviously you are a student and then maybe you also want to start a business. You cannot do everything all at once. No one is a jack of all trades. So, but what you can do is you can divide your time. So maybe you go to, to college or university or technical, and during the day, when you come back 1 or 2 hours into your business, because you are building, you're not going all in the beginning. You are still building the fundamentals, learning. I think maybe sometimes you want to do everything at once, which is really impossible. Not to say obviously it's easy, it's not, but those are the kind of things that over a time I've realized that you have to put into, because once you focus on something, maybe some other time you forget about other things. Journaling for me, I feel that works best when I have some time and then I'm thinking what am I going to do tomorrow, and then I have to write down, or maybe what I'm going to do for the week, and then I come back and I look, okay, I've ticked the things that I've done. Okay, some people I haven't called, then I make sure, okay, maybe I'll do it next week. So when I move into the new week, then I have to follow up in terms of what I didn't do or achieve in the previous week. So it's very important. I think time management becomes the key, because yes, you are resilient, you're not giving up, you're trying to follow your dreams. Challenges come, but how do you overcome? By not giving up, by setting times and goals, and like what you're going to achieve for the day, what you're going to achieve for a week, what you're going to achieve for a month, and be realistic. Don't also try and think that you can achieve like a whole lot. Some of the things in your list, because you are thinking, brainstorming, some of the things you might not be able to do right away, but as long as you make sure that you are following through, making sure that the task moves into the next, for me, has worked very well.
Definitely, I love what you say there, that you're not quitting. You know what, Kasepedi, there's a saying that monna hawi wasekam. You definitely, if you do fall, you just stand up and what it tint and you continue. Want to come in and ask, how do you stay true to your core values while expanding into new markets and services? I mean, what measures do you take to ensure that every facet of your business remains aligned with your core mission?
I think the fundamental and the mission and my true purpose is I'm Christian, and I believe that from when I thought that I've been called for a greater purpose, I have always known that it's for the bigger picture, right? Everything that I'm doing, like I said, it's aligned and everything, but the bigger picture is to be a role model, to inspire, to do impact. And I think also if you can be able to take all your dreams and everything that you do to give it that bigger purpose, that definition in terms of why you're doing this, it also drives you and it gives you that backbone in terms of even when it doesn't go well, you can always come back to it. Sometimes it could be you want to make your family proud, or you want to make your parents proud, or those kind of things could be the main core value or the main thing that pushes you in order that when those difficult times come, you are able to overcome. And if I may really just be frank and also use this time and this opportunity to minister, I, I really believe that everybody has a talent when they are born. They've got a purpose and they've got a talent. And then what we need to do is find out what that is. Because when we go to school, we are being taught mathematics, we're being taught physical science, we're being taught. I did technical drawing, I did, which I'm not using now, except just to draw some circles and squares. But imagine if maybe from when I was in high school, that's when also Shine Academy comes in, so that you can be able to look at in terms of what are you passionate about, and then making sure that you're studying towards that. But I really believe that if you are able to find that purpose in terms of that passion, but aligning the passion with the purpose, because then with the purpose, then you won't quit, because that purpose will always be there. And like I said, that for mine, it is in terms of wanting to do something amazing in this world. I want to change people's lives. I want to empower, and that is my purpose through Christianity, because I believe that God has put me on this world for that purpose. So everybody's got their own purpose and their own, things that they want to achieve, and they can also align it in terms of that. But I do really believe that we are all born for a purpose. So
Definitely, and I also believe in that. But I can counter your statement about talent. There was a movie with a scene with Morgan Freeman where he says that each and every one of us, when we are born with a talent, and if not, and if you don't know it, you definitely get good at something in life. Whatever you do, don't betray that. Because if you do betray that, you are betraying yourself. Now, I want to speak about the risk, to say what advice can you share with graduates on how to take, calculated risk without compromising their vision while we're still on the compact of vision.
Sure. Yeah, it's you cannot compromise. I would say at all. How about that? Do not compromise at all, because there's nothing in life to walk around with guilt or walk around with shame. You don't want to live your life like that. I think it would just kill you. It would just eat away at you. So I would really definitely say don't compromise on your vision. There's nothing that I can say. But in terms of risk, you can take risk, right? So take risk that if somebody else were to tell somebody that you did this, that is not something that you can be ashamed of or something that you can be embarrassed about. That, whenever you are taking risk, it's risk that you can be comfortable with. That's when the calculated risks come in. But never something that is going to make you lose your soul, never something that is going to make you embarrassed and shameful, and especially also now with the social media, with the a lot of ladies want to be influencers and stuff like that. It's, be careful of what you put on social media, because when you put it on social media later on in your life, when you're trying to do something great, it's gonna come back to bite you. So I think that's why it's important. Be focused, be vigilant, and always know that, if anybody ever think about it twice, if somebody were to tell somebody else about this thing, how would I feel? Would I be embarrassed? Would I be ashamed? And if it will give you those feelings, then don't do it. That would be my advice.
Definitely beautifully said. I want to remind our listeners that We are tuned into TUT FM 96.2, amplifying voices, empowering lives, and they can definitely, engage with us on both X and Instagram and Facebook at TUT FM 962, and both X and Instagram is at TUT FM _962. And you can definitely contact or even send us your WhatsApp or voice notes or messages or even questions that you might have for Miss Sanele on 012-382-9257. When I bring in this question coming into the line of work that you've taken, I want to understand, how do you then ensure inclusivity and accessibility in your commerce marketplace? I mean, what steps have you taken to cater to diverse customer needs and definitely empower women across various socioeconomic backgrounds?
Okay, so when we launched initially, my business plan or my company profile, I had the mamas and the aunties in the rural areas, and they were in Makai. Yes, correct. So that was my vision. Like, they are the worst. Like, how are we gonna make sure that they don't get left behind? So remembering that obviously my platform is to end, the digital divide, to breach the digital divide. So then I realized that, oh no, actually, maybe not just yet, because maybe they might not have products to sell, overseas, because there is obviously, you need to be market ready before you go and sell those products. Maybe perhaps you could start in initiatives where maybe they could do some beads and teach them how to do design, and then we can promote those products. I had to then look in terms of who would be my customer and my target market. And I realized that mostly it will be people that already have shops out there, because then I can be able to sell their products because the packaging is already there. Some of them it's already been tested, because especially with having a global marketplace. And even then, I didn't think that it was going to be global. When I started, I thought it was going to be a South African small spaza shop online. And then, then it became the More for Women, which then ended up being, when I launched on the 9th of August. But even then, I didn't think that it was going to be global. And then, then I started getting customers from the US, customers from Australia. I was like, okay, what is this thing? So that's hence I said start, and then you will see, it will blossom, it will grow into, what you desire to be. Sometimes you might not know where you're going and where you're heading with this. So now where were we? I lost the train of thought. We're talking too much. I lost that train of thought. Okay, so we're talking about building, right? The building blocks, and so I think it's so when you so when I decided, okay, so it's going to be people that already have shops. So then we started going to what do you call shopping centers. Right? Because then I definitely know that is my target market, because you are only selling in the shopping center. If you have to open a new website or your own website, then you have to get a marketing agency to market your product for you, right? And how much is the marketing agency going to charge you? Maybe 20,000 rand, So I had to look at my business as a business support organization, not necessarily as a business, but a business support organization, because I'm helping women, empowering them into their business. So in terms of that, then I went into ICT She Trades, which I've partnered with them, and so we make sure that also our women are listed under them. So you cannot obviously cover for everybody, but you try to be inclusive. So I've got 3 tenants plans. So the first entry is called the entry tenant, for a person who is starting out, who's got a shop, who's just filling out in terms of how it is to sell online, testing the waters. And then I've got your key tenant. Those are already established businesses that are comfortable, they already have a market. And then I've got an anchor tenant. The anchor tenant now is a person who's ready now, who's doing well in South Africa, but now they're like, South Africa is not enough. I need to expand into other territories. So each and every yes, correct. So each and every customer, there is a certain in terms of what we provide for them. So the entry tenants, the more up the business support that we put into them, helping them to grow with their business, helping them with the packaging. The established is already established, but in terms of obviously the positioning, And then the anchor tenants now having to those export opportunities that I spoke about, where now we're looking in terms of how we're going to export those products. And we also do webinars, so that it's not also in that it's for women only. Men are can come to the platform in terms of when we are doing.
Also.
Yes, absolutely. We did an entrepreneurs webinar towards the end of last year in November, which was a huge success. And it was men and women. So even beyond that, because we're empowering the community, not only just women. So
Yes,
yeah,
a round of applause
we
to
try
them.
to be inclusive as possible.
Yeah, and I want to come in because you mentioned a lot of partnerships now. I want to come in to say, how do strategic collaborations like those with logistics and even fintech, partners help you scale your vision?
Because I'm not a software developer,
Mhm.
I had to realize right away that I am going to have to partner with other businesses in order to do that.
Mhm.
It is quite a huge vision and big, if I may call it that way, with so many departments in terms of, your digital health, your fintech, your e-learning. And I promise you, now it's such this the state of collaboration, of people having to understand that you do not work in silos, do not work alone. They
Yeah,
don't have to invent things. There are already people that invented the technology. There's already people who have gone through that. You don't have to, because to establish something and start from scratch and build everything from scratch yourself, it will take years. So
definitely.
so then that's when I realized that collaboration is going to be key. So one of the two things I say we believe in the power of technology, and
Mhm.
collaboration can change the world. And the collaboration has really come in handy, because I don't have a logistic company, but I can collaborate with somebody who's got a logistic company. I don't have funds myself to fund the entrepreneurs that list on
Those,
the platform, but
yeah.
I've got other companies that we've collaborated with for partnership to fund those entrepreneurs. So I believe that really collaboration is key in today's society. Do not think that you're going to do anything. I'm always open to collaboration, but also I've heard a lot of people, that's the way to go now. You cannot think that you're going to be able to run a whole empire by yourself. It's
Mhm.
important to collaborate, because then it's also knowledge sharing. They've done that, you're doing something, then you collaborate and you bring something beautiful together. And that's how we've been able to do this.
Beautifully said. And you know what? That is the key weight or keynote I'm taking home tonight, that collaboration is key. For if you're thinking of opening that pub or club, I'm there. You must collaborate with me. And I want to come in and ask you, how do you leverage your personal brand to then inspire and mentor others? I mean, in what ways do you use your platform to advocate for women empowerment and entrepreneurship?
I think the platform itself stands, that's what it's for.
Mhm.
That's what it's designed for, to stand for entrepreneurs, to stand for, in terms of empowering them. But I also do some mentorship as well, in terms of, having to mentor some up and coming entrepreneurs, in terms of their own businesses, because I've walked in this journey. I understand what it takes to be in business. And that's my giving back, in terms of having to help those people. But I think in terms of business, I think that the business, like I said, speaks for itself. It's about women empowerment and entrepreneurship. And even that's what I stand for, even with beauty with intention, and even with Shine Academy. That's me trying to give back, in terms of, obviously, to the right diverse audience. With More for
Mhm.
Women, it's for women that have businesses, that want to penetrate international market, that want to be online. With Beauty with Intention, it's for holistic wellness. And then with Shine Academy, it's for teens. So I think I've diversified in such a way that I'm able to do something that can be received well by that particular audience. So maybe targets markets is very important. It's key, in terms of
Yeah.
knowing also which, as an entrepreneur, who's your target markets, who's your audience,
Mhm.
and what will work for this audience maybe might not work for the other audience. So it's very important to markets, to segment your markets, in terms of where are you selling, who you selling, what are you selling, to whom. I think it's very important.
And you know what? I know that running multiple companies, you cannot run them alone. You definitely have a team that is supporting you or backing you. I want to know what practices do you implement to ensure that, your team stays innovative and responsive to change?
Oh, I've got such an amazing team. I don't want to lie. I think they are also like me, full of energy, like myself. They also have big dreams. And I think also because of that collaborative spirit, especially even with
Mhm.
the Shine Academy, even then the teachers and the mentors that teach the walk, that teach the etiquette, that teach. I don't do everything myself. I've
Yeah.
got a team that do it, and it's people that also are looking in terms of, okay, this person has done this and this is what they are passionate about. They will fit well into this position. There's something I work with my husband as well. He's my co-founder in most of my businesses, and
Mhm.
one of the things that he said, that I've got a gift of sporting talent. So, but I think it becomes to that in terms of having to look at what a person is passionate about, and then they will fit well in this position, and not
Mhm.
trying to employ somebody just because they are looking for a job. But in terms of aligning, when I say somebody like, oh, and I want to join your team, give me your CV. And then I look at the CV and like, and I speak to you, then I can tell, oh, okay, this person is going to be good in this
Yeah.
position. So then it just becomes a symbiosis in terms of a wellness space where everybody's happy because they're also doing something that they're passionate about.
I guess it does bring in the meaning or the true definition to that teamwork makes the dream work. We definitely have some questions coming in from our listeners. So please, Miss Sanele, do listen to them.
Hello to everybody listening. My name is Kamahelo Madisa. My question is what was the one event that happened in your life that changed literally everything?
Did you get that?
Yes, I did. I think when I look back, it is that time when I was suffering from the depression, when the transition, like I said, when from because initially I was born in KZN, right? And then when the 94 happened, then my parents moved to Cape Town,
Cape
and
Town,
then
yes.
having to come back to adapt was very challenging for me. I was very suicidal at that time. I mean, at some stage, I actually even tried to kill myself and was in the hospital for a few days. So I think that time when I went through that space and didn't die, I came back and I was even more driven without me not realizing or noticing. But I think it is that one space that I can pause and say, you know what, after this, was never the same. Because like I said, that also after I won, that school competition,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
after that, I went to beauty, wanting to make women look beautiful, and then after that, I want to be Mrs. South Africa. Then I've always got dreams to do something big, big. Clearly, that's something that made me pull me back to say that, you know what, it now is not your time. Don't try and end your life. There's still something more that you need to give to people. And I've really enjoyed that, especially also when I do my mentoring and I mentor people and I'm able to bring out that uniqueness, that shine, as hence Shine Academy, and bring
Yes,
out
yes,
that
yes.
shine to everybody, to people that I meet. I think definitely it was that one um, space or time in my life that my trajectory changed in terms of having to realize that I am destined for something big.
Definitely want me to say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger because now when when you look at the time and now you definitely do.
Yeah.
Another one is coming in. Please do listen in.
Ita Ola, my gents and the ladies. So I have a question here between working for a company that does something I'm in love with and just building my own thing. Which way is more stable?
You got that, Miss Simons?
Yes, I did. Okay. Thank you for your question. I didn't get her name, the second caller. I just when I went through I've gone through a lot of going back to having to study and learning. So after Future
Mhm.
Females, I went to School of Export to learn about export. Then after that, I went through the NEF, the pre-investment funding, the National Empowerment Fund. One of the things I learned there was that there is a difference between an entrepreneur mindset and an employee mindset. And there's nothing wrong with both of them, because, but it's a mindset. I'll explain. When you are an employee, you get paid a salary, and then every month, you can afford to pay your bills. Then you are comfortable, right? When you're an entrepreneur, you are a go-getter. You want to do something. So it's very difficult for you to work for a boss because you are only limited to that time, or limited to that position. In terms of, if you are a person who's creative like me, I want to come and bring change. I always have to pass it by my boss. And then if my boss says no, then I become unhappy. Now I'm unhappy in my job because everything I'm trying to bring to the table, I'm trying to bring suggestions to the table, but my boss is saying no. Then I'm not happy, right? Then I'm depressed. I'm not happy. But when I'm doing things for myself, it's fulfilling, but also at the same time, it's very challenging. So it's got to be, that's why I said it's a mindset. You would know what you would be comfortable with. I know that most of the time, like most of us in South Africa, we started also jobs, our own businesses, because we couldn't get jobs. We then started our own business, but it can be learned. You can change your mindset, right? So even if maybe you had an employee mindset in the beginning and then you lost your job, you can't just sit at home and be like, I can't start a business because I don't have an entrepreneur mindset. I need a boss to pay me. The mindset can also be changed. You can have that mindset shift, but it is too, a person knows themselves, like what would they be comfortable with. A life of an entrepreneur is very difficult. I sleep a few hours in a day.
I was about to come to say that, as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you don't even sleep because you got this raging ideas in your mind.
Exactly. Even when I'm sleeping, and it's so nice because, especially with my co-founder, which is my husband, I wake him up at the night. Hey, you know what? I just had this great idea.
Yes, definitely.
You don't sleep. You're always coming up with ideas. You're always trying to solve problems. And like I said, it's a mindset. And there's nothing wrong, because also not everybody can be bosses, because who's going to work then if we are all bosses?
Everyone is
So,
bosses,
yeah,
And
so we need each other. We need to have a boss, and then so that the boss comes and gives that direction and that gives that leadership. And then also at the same time, we need the employees that are going to be able to get the direction and the leadership from the boss, and then they go and implement. So we need each other. But I think a person would know themselves within them, what kind of mindset do they have, like in terms of what is it that they enjoy. If you enjoy coming back at home, spending time with the family, and everything else is taken care of, I so and so didn't do, they must do their job, then you probably most likely have an employee mindset, because I think an employee must do their job. As entrepreneur, we want to get our hands dirty, you want to do everything. And especially when you start, you do become like that. It becomes more difficult when you do have the staff now to actually delegate, because you're so used to doing things yourself, which I'm very bad at actually, but I'm trying to improve. I'm trying
definitely have
to
to be
improve.
a boots on the ground type of person. And what I'm
Yes,
taking from this is that, you know what, I'm gonna speak to my boss. If I table 3 options of work and change and they don't agree, I'm definitely starting my own business. But we've got one more voice note coming into from our listeners. Please do listen to it.
How do I turn my small business of selling magwinya into a bigger one? That is my question.
Did you get that?
Ita,
okay. Okay, if hair magwinya is a real product, I will make an example with that, and then hopefully if it's not, she can be able to see. All right, so I said we start small, right? You will start selling your magwinyas to maybe your neighborhood, right? Let's say you are living in an estate or complex, or maybe a school. You are selling only to those people, and you need to scale. So scaling means that there's difference between growing your business and scaling. Growing your business requires capital. It requires a lot of money to grow your business, but you can scale in terms of where you are able to, with the same where you are using time to triple in terms of what you're doing. So my advice would be, look at how you can grow the business without actually having to have money, but in terms of maybe time. then
Yeah.
maybe find people that can help you. So in terms of building that brand, give it branding is also very important. If you have a
Mm.
brand and you give it like a name in terms of, don't just say I'm selling Magwenya, have a business name, and build a brand around it where people can recognize you. So when you are
True.
doing the flyers and stuff like that, then they're able to, understand that. So that also when you are growing your brand now, right? Because you did it in the school and people know about it, then you get two more aunties to bake with so that you can
Yeah.
bake bigger batches. So in
Yes.
the morning,
Yes.
the three of you go to different schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you do well because you've got this brand that you started with that people know and recognize. Then you're thinking, okay, now maybe let's go to the clinics. So now you get two more other aunties. You teach them how to bake, and then now in the morning there's 5 buckets now that are going out. So you start small. You give it a brand. You have to brand name, even if you don't register the business yet, but give it a brand name. Give it an
Yeah.
identity that this is the business that I'm starting. Then it's easier to grow it because you can identify it and you know it. You're not just playing or starting small, especially if you want to grow it big. You have to have that brand identity, and something also that's going to make you unique. So don't also do exactly, oh, there's something that also us black people sometimes like to do. If somebody comes up with the idea to go and sell apples, and they go and buy 10 apples, and then they sit around the corner, I promise you the next week there's going to be somebody who's going to come sit next to them and also sell apples. Like, he's selling apples, why don't you sell oranges? Why don't you sell bananas? What
Yay.
the other person is not selling. So you
Competition
have
will
to
be the
make it
death of
unique.
us.
Make it unique yourself, so that when they
Yeah.
smell, they're like, oh, maybe the way you put them in the plastic bag, in the packaging,
Yeah.
that gives it that
Yeah.
uniqueness, so that people can identify that these are your Magwinyas, that makes it
Mm-hmm.
different from the other Magwinyas. So once you're able to create that brand, create a unique selling proposition, or that unique selling point, then you get other people to, because the more you sell, the more you can start paying other people.
Yeah, definitely. It is definitely 15 minutes before the hour 9 o'clock, and soon after that, the Remy William Masenya will sit on this hot seat and give you everything that is concerning love. I just want to remind you that we are still speaking to Ms. Sanele Simmons, who is the co-founder and CEO for Mall of Women, Beauty with Intention, and then also, would I say, the co-owner of or co-founder of Shine Academy. And definitely our topic is turning passion into a business, lessons from her entrepreneurial journey. I want to bring in this question now to say, what advice do you have for graduates who fear failure when embarking on the entrepreneurial journey?
Mm. Yeah, I've mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. Failure is not the opposite of success. I don't know how that's how we think. We are wired to think like that, but as human beings, but it's not opposite of success. You are going to fail at something, but don't fail on your own dreams. That's why I said also pivot, bend it a bit, twist it a bit. If you see that it's not working, try something else. Collaborate, work with other people, look for a mentor, take a mentorship class, go to YouTube, learn, Google, chat GPT. Like, it's not, if it's not working, it doesn't mean that you have failed. I
Yeah,
think the time that you actually do fail is when you don't start. How about that?
definitely.
And you are a failure because you never started. But
And
if you
when you
start,
speak
there's no terminology called failure.
And when you speak of YouTube, I remember, I think it was December, I had a guest like you here, David Mortimer or Clipper Mortimer. He was saying anything that I spoke to him, any question that I asked him, he would say, YouTube. Go to YouTube, man. Definitely, there's tutorials. There's people that have done what you want to do before. So definitely go to YouTube and look out for that. And I want to come in and ask you, what piece of advice do you wish you had received when starting out that you can then pass out to others now?
I've received where would like where in, because I've like in the entrepreneurial journey or in life in general, like.
Definitely, in terms of, like reflecting on your journey, what key lessons like stand out as a guiding principles for aspiring entrepreneurs?
uh what what do I wish that I had? Wow, it's a very good question. That what do I wish advice I had received? Okay, I think it's not a words per se. I think it's more actionable. their financial management. That is
Yes.
something that I wish that I understood as growing up, even now in business, because it's very important to be able to manage your finances,
True.
whether in business or not in business, in life and in general. I remember when I was young, I always used to get pocket money. So I never really thought about, you know, uh, like not where does even money come from. I don't think that you
Mhm.
actually even think about that as kids. Your parents are working. Every time you go and open the fridge, there's food.
That's, that's
So you don't
yeah.
really think about it. I think after you leave home, that's the first time it actually hits you that, what, I need to pay rent, I need to buy groceries, I need to, oh my God, how am I going to do this? So financial management, I'll say definitely, if you can be
Yeah.
able, if you are from a good family that is teaching you financial management, do it. If you haven't started business, make sure you get some financial management courses, because when the money
Yeah.
comes, you need to be able to manage your finances. When you're looking for investors, they want to know the numbers. And then
Yeah.
also, that's your own family, you need to be able to budget. So it's part of
Mhm.
life, definitely, and very important.
You know what? I'll take the last two questions and I'll let you go for this evening. I want to ask you this. How do you see the future of women-led entrepreneurship evolving in South Africa and globally?
We actually just in the beginning. One of the things I normally would say is that a few years ago, or when I was growing up, when I was born, for a woman, there were some people in the township that had the spaza shop, but the kind of careers that were available, would be police, nursing, those were the type of
Teaching.
careers that, yes, teaching. Oh, absolutely. Most
Mm.
of my family are teachers. My
Teachers. Yeah.
grandfather was a teacher, I'm the one who just was the odd one out. you know so but that was the kind of careers that were there, right? And
Mhm.
then now when you look at the level of unemployment, you can see that definitely entrepreneurship is important. We do need to understand what entrepreneurship is, teach entrepreneurship, like I said, that it is possible to learn. But I think when you look at globally, because this is only just the history of South Africa, right? Globally, there's about 5% of women CEO globally. Like in the
Mm.
whole entire world, there's only
Phew.
5%. So that means that's why also even me, like some people like, what, when I'm getting recognition, CEO top, like how come? Like, yeah, well, there isn't a lot of us.
Mhm. Oh, I
you know
definitely understand.
so
Yeah.
so so that I definitely think it's in changing, is that it's evolving, especially with a lot of women empowerment initiative. And women empowerment doesn't mean that men mustn't be empowered. It's just that we
Mhm.
are trying to catch up in terms of being left behind, in terms of even now, women, like when men had to do something on the computer, it's very fast for you guys to learn because you grow up playing video games. With us, even myself, sometimes I start sweating like, oh God, you know. So women are like that. So
Yeah.
but we are catching up in terms of I'm part of the Wekona group, which is the Women's Economic Assembly, which was founded by the president, I think, 2 to 3 years ago, where they are
Mhm.
also trying to groom and grow women CEO. So it's turning, so we actually starting. So I would say it's looking up.
Yeah.
The trajectory is looking upwards, because this is only just starting now. Promise you in 10 years, 20 years, because what we don't want women to be the ones that are driving. We want
Mhm.
50-50, in terms
Yeah.
of
True.
50,
True.
and
True.
people to get jobs because of who they are and what they
Yeah.
represent, the experience, not because you are male or female, not because of the color of your skin. The job must be given to the most competent person. So that's what we are aiming for.
Definitely, we are running out of time, and I will take this last question to say, and you might have touched on it, but I want you to extrapolate more on it to say, what are your final messages, or like, what is the final message you would like to share with young graduates who are listening to Plug a Graduate as they embark on their own journey, and how can they, harness their passion, education, and resilience to then build impactful businesses that make a difference?
Yeah. I did touch on it, you're right, in terms of, I said, not giving up, being resilient. But I think just as we are about to close, I think one of the most important thing is that, our country depends on it, actually. Apart from making our parents proud. Our country depends on it. We need entrepreneurs. We need people that are going to make the right decisions. And I believe even in government, it's high time that we get the right qualified people into the right positions so that we can be able to see the impact that we need in our country. I'm very grateful for the people that fought for our freedom.
Yes.
Really appreciate it, absolutely. But I think right now we need young people with bright ideas and with the right qualifications for those positions to turn this country around. So that is my actually they are you guys are only hope. Okay, can I say it like that? You are only hope. We do need you to go finish studying, graduate, start a business, and then employ people. We need it. Otherwise, things are looking scary. So, yep.
It is definitely 5 minutes before the 9 o'clock, and the person that is coming in is already here. I want to say thank you, Ms. Sanele, for sharing your remarkable story and practical wisdom with us this evening. Your insights into turning passion into a business, overcoming challenges, and even fostering empowerment are truly inspiring. And as we wrap up this conversation, I do hope that your journey motivates our listeners to pursue their dreams with resilience and creativity. And now, definitely to our graduates and future entrepreneurs, please do remember that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Thank you so much, and please do have yourself a lovely evening.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye.
Now that you have it, ladies and gentlemen, it is that give.
Thank you for joining, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye bye.
Groundbreakers. Mondays to Thursdays. 7 to 9 p.m. on TUT FM.